going on, guys? It's Brian Gallagher with Beyond the Rack, brought to you by Dark Side Strength. Today we have three-time powerlifting champion Louis Kumbalek talking about what it takes to achieve a high-level powerlifting ranking, 20th in the nation. Check us out on YouTube and Spotify. Catch you later. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Rack, brought to you by Dark Side Strength, strength through adaptability. I'm your host, Brian Gallagher, bringing you local athletes, coaches, and influential individuals to our Lakeshore area in the world of sport and performance. Today, we're excited to have three-time Wisconsin State powerlifting champion, fireman, father, husband, and training partner for the past 5 years, Louis Kumbalek. For everyone listening, Louis has competed in the USAPL with numbers of the squat at 567.7, the bench of 385.5, and a deadlift of 617.3 in competition, earning a ranking of 20th in the nation at the time he stopped competing in 2018. Thanks, Louis, for being here with us.
No problem, bro.
So, where did this all come from?
I don't know. But you want me to start from the beginning?
Start from the beginning. You're from here, obviously.
Yep, I was born here, born and raised. Went to middle school in Manitowoc and then came back for high school. So,
Public school?
Yep, public school.
Okay.
So let's see. Talk about sports, I guess. So I played every sport when I was a little kid. And then I mostly played hockey. I've been playing hockey since I was shit and green. Yeah, so then football, of course, baseball, no basketball. I don't have the height for basketball.
So let's go to hockey. So you started at what, like middle school, elementary school?
Elementary. I think I was like 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's county league?
Fucking A. Yeah, county
Okay.
league. Yeah, I played at county league. Hockey's a little different than a couple of sports because when I played, we weren't part of the high school or any of the school. We played under our own league. So when I started out, I think you start as the county and then you can jump to a traveling league if you want. It's all in Manitowoc.
Right.
So yeah, and then just worked my way up and then fixed other sports in when it was off season.
So would you say, because obviously I played football with you later in life, would you say hockey's more physical? More physically demanding on your body?
I don't know. I think that football has, it's a quick burst of energy, right? And then all of a sudden you get this break of playtime and all that stuff. Hockey is just go, 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 go all the time. You do obviously get your whistles and your penalties and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, like football, I would say the linemen probably work the hardest in football, to be honest, right? You got the big dudes, they got all the weight, but then they also have to push basically their same weight away from everyone else, right? But hockey is more of just speed, moving, constant like fluctuation of or who's on the ice and who's not on the ice, and it's nonstop.
Yeah.
Would it be wrong for me to compare hockey as like a mix between soccer and football?
Hockey is exactly like soccer. Yeah, it's exactly like soccer. Yeah, it's a smaller playing field, and
More
then
physical.
and obviously you're on ice, right? But yeah.
Sweet. So how did you prep for hockey? Obviously, as probably an elementary school kid, you're not prepping, you're just going out there and skating around. But as you got more competitive.
Yeah, you don't really like, I don't know. I think that's a lot in high school sports is there's no real prepping, right? When you're in grade school, you kind of just go out and play, right? And you got dads as coaches and all that stuff. So there's no prep work at all. But that's how it should be when you should just learn how to play and learn how to have fun and learn how to be a team, right? You play with guys so I played with guys because we weren't part of the schools.
Yeah.
So we played with guys in Manitowoc. You played guys in Mishicot. You played guys a lot in Manitowoc. But like I didn't know some of the guys when I first started. But then I grew up with everyone.
Who are some of the best hockey athletes that you played with
From
the area?
Yeah. So like they had
if you remember
my age wise, like Derek Donahue went off to play for the Gamblers. He was always a stud player.
Okay.
But I had a couple guys that I played with that were really really good that. I don't know if they never tried to go on. Our goalie, Ethan Dahlhoff, went off and played at Michigan Tech for a while. Familiar. Yeah, he was pretty good. Mike Koss was always a big dude. He fucking was always real brutal on the ice. And then like Adam Kaufman, I don't know if you know him. He's a little bit older than I am.
I know the name.
Yeah, he was good. Morgan O'Connell was good. His brothers were good. And then like local guys I played with, like I don't know Jeff Kessel if he ever listens and all that stuff. Like I know all those guys. Kurt Kohler.
I didn't know Kurt Kohler played hockey.
Yeah, he played. So yeah, they were just. I mean, there's just a handful of guys that were pretty good, kind of like football here.
Yeah.
Right? For a long time, there was good athletes, but they never just went on to play. Hockey's a little different too because you got to like you don't just like go to school, a college, and then play and then get drafted. You
Yeah.
just start super early and basically like wiggle your way in. That's why other countries most of the time have more.
Now, did hockey? I know for a while that you were playing as an adult. Did any of those people continue to play that you just mentioned?
Yeah, so Ethan, I think played. I don't know exactly, so I might be making all this shit up, but I think he played like 2 or 3 years with Michigan Tech, which they're pretty good. They're a pretty good organization for a tech school, but they're a big old tech school.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about any other guys. Like I played a little bit, but I just wasn't good enough to make it to the next level. And I didn't really.
Just kind of do it for
Yeah,
fun.
you just play, and you don't know how to let go.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Everybody gets done with
Yeah.
their senior year of sports, and you don't realize that you are going to miss that. Like I didn't. Our last tournament, I don't remember what it was. I remember driving home, not thinking anything about it, and then all of a sudden, like we pulled in, and it all hit. Like I'm never gonna play organized hockey ever again. Truly, like I'll never play it like it means to be right now. I'm not good. You already know you're not good enough to make it to the next level,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like it was just like tears. I was crying on the backseat.
Is it fair to say that this was like your first sport that you were actively trying to be competitive in, and not just like everyone signs up for t-ball?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
That
do
was
it
like
for fun, but this is
yeah,
something that you were competitive and you wanted to win and you wanted to keep going.
yeah. We had a pretty good team. Our team played together since probably like second or third grade. Most of us were together, so we knew everybody really well. We had a really good. I think it was my junior and senior year. We had a really good season where it was. I don't remember the consecutive wins, but it ended up rolling like 30 or 40 wins because a hockey season is a pretty big season.
Yeah.
And then you go play extra tournaments and state tournaments, and then like as you get your senior, you go play in the like an all-star game and you do all that. So like we're always playing together. So like we had a really good team. It's just such a small organization and a small sport around here that it's not you can't carry it anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
how did obviously we just went through all your numbers, powerlifting. How do you go from hockey to weight training? What was the gap there?
Yeah, so I started working out. I want to say like middle school. You start working out just to work out, basically check out women or girls in the gym.
Yeah.
When you're in middle school, yeah, you think you're cool. High school, just kind of went in there, work out, hang out with buddies, and then I think I started like taking weightlifting seriously like senior year because you start seeing
It's like 2008.
yeah puberty hits and you're like you start getting big and you start seeing muscles and you realize I can just eat and get big. Like all you do is just feed your mouth full of shit. And when you're young, like you can just go eat McDonald's every day and you feel great. So like
So what did you weigh like your senior year?
I graduated at like 150 pounds, I think.
Oh wow.
So I was super light. I was a skinny guy. I basically had to make muscle out of nothing. So I was lucky, and you just eat to get bigger, right?
You didn't really have to watch a diet.
Yeah, you get some of these kids that are in high school, they're just bred bigger, right? You see their parents, and they're just bigger hips, bigger shoulders, bigger as everything. They're bigger everything, and they just get a little bit. I don't want to say fatter, but just more bone, more thicker, right? So then they have to work at it a little bit. But you see the kids around here that they're just the kids that can be athletes. They just have that bigger frame. I was not one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your you said you lifted with buddies. Obviously training partners are important.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons.
Yeah.
But what drew you to these who were these people? And what drew you to them to lift with them?
So in the beginning, like I said, high school and like right out of high school, it was just buddies. Like we all just had the same goal to get big.
Yeah.
But then like
the Garsos and the Boutniks.
Yeah, I had like Dustin Plitsky was always a monster back in the day. His brother was a monster. And then like you had all those other guys that we just hung out and we figured out like what we could do that weekend to cause trouble, but we met in the gym and worked out first, right? Kind of a thing.
Would you say these people that you were lifting with were athletes?
Yeah, they were all natural athletes. Dustin was a big pole vaulter. He played football. He played soccer. He was a pretty good soccer player, right?
And I believe his brother went to St. Cloud.
Yeah,
something like that.
His brother went to St. Cloud for 4 years. Played with some bigger names up there. It's a D2 school.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, all these guys. It's just like it's a buddy hangout, but then it turns into a competitive nature. Right? You start learning how to I can win, and you just learn that you can beat people, and it feels good, just like in any sport, right? When you play in the beginning you play to feel good and have fun and hang out with buddies, but then you start, I like to win.
Yeah. So that was your first
yeah.
taste of competitive in a weight room.
Yeah. Yep.
aspect.
Yeah.
What was your training style like? Obviously, it's high school.
Yeah, high school. You're just in there throwing numbers around. Basically, you just
bench 3 times a week.
Yeah, you just bro split was perfect.
Take a football workout, throw it away.
Yeah, and then but like there was nothing when we worked out or when we were in sports. There was really no weightlifting program or no other like thing to guide us into like, hey, this is how you should get faster and bigger, faster, stronger type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things you just figure out on your own.
Were they running a bigger, faster, stronger back then?
I don't remember what it was called. You would know.
Was it Latour?
I had Fergie at first, and then Latour.
So yeah, it was bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah, whatever it was, and I couldn't even tell you what they actually did.
A lot of power cleans, box step ups.
Yeah, and I couldn't power clean to fucking save my life. So.
No, and you see these athletes now they can't power clean because it's a complex weightlifting movement.
Yeah, you got to break it down for these kids.
It's not just it's not just a pull. It's there's a puppy in here.
Sorry.
So you said you lifted through senior year.
Yeah.
When did you get into powerlifting? Like, what drew you to that?
I got into powerlifting by a complete accident.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. Full start from after high school. Like, I just worked out to get bigger, be stronger, kind of a thing.
Just at the Y or wherever.
Yeah, Y or like high school, wherever I could get in.
Yeah.
Anytime Fitness around here was big, right?
Yep.
So did all that, and then I ended up meeting a buddy that was through a friend of a friend, and it was like, hey, you should powerlift. I was like, okay, let's try it.
Who was that?
Brett Oswald.
Okay.
Mr. Oswald.
So you met Brett. Where'd you meet Brett?
Under the squat rack.
At the Y?
Yeah. So no, it was one of those things where, like I said, it was a buddy to a buddy. I worked out with a couple guys from work, and then I ended up knowing him just through them, and then no one was there, so I was doing my own thing. Brett walked in, started working out. You see the whole like bro, hello, right? The whole
kind of nod in the squat rack.
I know who you are, and that's about it. And then he basically said, hey, you want to squat? And I said, yeah, let's squat. And then from him, I learned everything, basically the base of like powerlifting and strength sports was from him. I didn't know anything. I just knew do 10s to get bigger, right? The whole, you do 3s to get stronger, 10s or 8 to 10s to get bigger, and then anything past 10 is all just aerobic or endurance work. That's how I thought forever.
So did you run like a 5-3-1 program?
Yep, I ran all those. He had books and PDFs and everything on his phone or on his computer that he's just like, here, check this out. It's like going to the library and checking shit out. So
then you would get the random download this ebook, text at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, how much coffee has Brett had today?
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. He knew how to do it. He was in strongman. He was in powerlifting. He was in all the strength sports. I know he wrestled in high school and college, and I think he played football in high school.
He played in wrestling. I don't think he played football in college, but he played football at Anago.
Yep. And then he went to Stevens Point.
And I don't have his sheet in front of me, but I believe his first meet was a UPA meet in 2006. I believe, because I want to say he graduated in 4 or 5, something like that.
I was 3 years old.
He was just a baby. So how long did you train or prep, whatever you want to call it, for that first meet? Obviously, you were like continuing to train.
Yeah, like I was trained. I'm trying to think. Like Brett kind of ran it with my eyes closed because I didn't know, and I just said, "Here you go. I don't know what to do. You got to show me." I think it was like I want to say like a 12-week prep. And then
so wow, it was quick. 12 weeks.
Yeah, it was like
because
it was just one of those conversations. He said, "All right, let's find one." I know what we do around here now. It's just, are you interested, and how much work do you need?
But it's fair to say for people listening, you've been training. So your first meet here says 2016, September. But you were constantly training for roughly 9 years at that point?
I've been working out. Yes, I've been like consecutively truly working out since like 2008.
So yeah,
so like
about 8 years.
Yeah, so like 2008 is like high school. Right?
Do you think that constant work, because I've worked out with Brett and they're pretty vigorous, just like working out with you is pretty vigorous. But do you think that 8 years of bro splits or bodybuilding accessories, whatever you want to call it, helped you in motor pattern development and conditioning for that first meet?
Yeah,
because 12 weeks is not a long prep.
Yeah, you just it's hard. Like you need a base, right? You can't
Yeah,
just start.
yeah, that's
from
what I'm trying to
nothing.
say.
Yeah,
Do you think
just
that
need
gave you a good base?
Yeah, you need a base, right? And like when I was working out, especially right as I met Brett or before I met Brett, like I was barbell rowing 315 for 10s. I was still squatting 405 for 10. I was putting up numbers, but it's just a form game after that. And
Yeah.
you learn how strong you can be or are, especially in the early stages of like strength sports. You just learn how strong you can be pretty quick once you learn how to do the actual movements correctly.
Yeah. So your first meet, I'm gonna read your numbers here: squat, bench, deadlift, 534, 347, and 551. Was that your first time ever pulling over five on a deadlift?
I'm trying to think. Probably hit it, but it looked ugly. Like I probably pulled it, but it was like I was humping the bar, like hitching it. It probably looked like shit. And then
Because you did some big jumps here, and I know you probably aren't going to remember this, but
no.
529, 551, 611.
Yeah, so
Holy
I
shit.
took. Yeah, so I took. I really like you can see when I work out. I like to warm up, and basically that opener weight is basically what I hit in that last warm up. Some guys might not like that, right? You're wasting energy, but that first walkout weight should be something that you can hit any day of the week. You
Right,
can be
just to get on the
sick as a
board.
dog. You can be whatever. You just got to get on the board, and especially for guys' first meet. Like you should feel super confident walking on the platform because it already is nerve wracking, right? Everybody who's never competed like that before doesn't feel the eyes on you. Yeah. So like when Dieter walks out, I guarantee like it's gonna be hard to hit that first rep or that one rep because everybody's watching you and it's all on you, especially like smaller meets, like you're all by yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right? Only your spotters and then you got your judges in front of you and that's it.
Daddy
Everybody
let the leash
else,
go.
yeah, everybody else is everybody else just is staring at you, watching you. Everybody likes to see like big dumb idiots lift heavy weight. I don't care who you are. Everybody
Yeah, you
likes
like
to
to
see
see
it,
it.
right? It's like holy shit. Everybody wants that motivation or that clarification of like someone can do this, right?
Yeah.
And we're all just little guys, to be honest. You look at the big guys, the big names out there in powerlifting, which a lot of people. It's a small community, first of all, right?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that's like, holy shit, a human being can do that. It's cool.
I watched that Eddie Hall.
So-
1,000 pounds of all time. Like every
Yeah,
meet,
it's a cool thing to see.
So
It's
if I'm understanding, based on your, we'll take your deadlift for example. Your last warm up in the warm up room would have been somewhere around 495.
nope, it would have been right my opener weight.
So you
I
hit
would've-
your
I would've
opener,
hit my
and then you
opener.
came out and pulled your opener.
Correct.
Okay.
So then I
Then I
knew,
misunderstood what
yeah,
you said.
so then I knew exactly what it felt like.
Right.
I knew how tight I needed to be. I know.
Now you do that for everything?
Yeah.
I know you're,
I did it for.
we'll say a deadlift specialist, but
that's a pretty big.
you're a pretty solid
label.
deadlifter at a.
191 pounds.
Well, this one you competed at 205, the Pure
Yep.
Fitness Open.
So I started at 205 because it was. I tell all the new guys too, and I know this comes from bigger names than me, that new guys in any weight cutting sport or sport that has involved in weight to like make classes, new guys should not be cutting weight at all.
No.
Like it's another factor that they have to worry about.
It's a whole
right?
mental factor in that.
Yeah,
You gotta be mentally tough to cut a serious amount
Look
of
at
weight.
them fucking professional UFC guys. They're cutting like 20 pounds and they're drained, they're dead. And mind you, fighting is a whole nother thing, right? That's a deal in itself. But now you have to put your max effort weight on your body when you're drained. And a USPL meet, USAPL meet, you weigh in and you're lifting within a few hours. So you have no time.
You have no macronutrients, no micronutrients.
Yeah,
nothing.
you have no time to like refuel, right? Even
compared to the UFC fighters when they weigh in a day or two beforehand to fight, and then they can.
Yeah,
And
that's what it's for.
USAPL is what, 2-hour weigh-ins, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't. But
I've never done a 2-hour weigh-in. I've done a 24-hour, and that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring in a bunch of like honey and shit.
Yeah. So then, so I don't believe in the new guys, especially. I don't believe in anybody really. But as you get more efficient in your lifts and your weight cut and you're experienced in what you're doing, you can obviously add another stressor to it. But keeping those stressors down is number one.
So you did your first meet.
Yep.
Obviously Brett right now probably is your main training partner.
Yeah, that was it. Me and him trained all the time.
So obviously Brett was there with you. What did he want to change going into, because you went from September to that January, you had the Wisconsin State Open.
Mhm.
So what did you guys do from your first meet to your second meet in order to improve your weaknesses? Can you just elaborate
Yeah.
on what he saw and wanted to fix, I guess is what I'm trying to
I
say.
think what happened was I just had weaknesses everywhere. Like it was
Yeah.
just one of those things. Like I told Dieter today, it's not like everybody has specific things they're lacking, right? Your hamstrings, glutes, quads, whatever, your back, whatever. But like for me personally, it was just getting used to handling the overload, right?
Yeah.
And we trained hard all the time. Like I never had so much stress on my low back before, so I had to get used to having that with stress. So that feeling of when you're done in the gym and you're like, oh, did I hurt something? I just got all kinds of blood. All it is you just have to get used to being uncomfortable. Is all it is. And
Would
Yeah.
it be every day, or would it be like?
no, like we play. I probably ran like I've ran the Philippines chart. I've ran the West Side. I've ran the Calgary. I've ran the 531. I've ran what else? I've ran all kinds of them.
Brian
Right?
also was Dark Horse.
Yeah, I've ran a bunch of them. The Shiko. I've ran the Shiko program
Yeah.
where the Russians do. Like it's just constant work, right? That's what people don't understand is even if you're just on some sort of like weight loss journey, you can't work out twice, take 7 days off, work out twice, take 7 days off,
You gotta
right?
be consistent.
Yeah. So even if you're working with percentages, like you have to go. You can't take a day off. And the difference between like it's easier for someone who's competing in a powerlifting or a strongman or something like that, and who have that background of working out all the time. They understand, hey, I got to sweat. Hey, I got to work hard. Hey, I got to do this. Right? I'm going to be sore. But the guys who are just losing weight per se, right? They don't have that like every day. Yep, I go to the gym. Yep, I go to the gym. Like I talk to guys at work all the time that are just like, how do you find the time to work out? I said, I make time to work out.
Yeah.
If I got to wake up at 4, I come in here at 4. If I got to wake up, or if I got shit to do, I'll come in here at night, or I'll go for a run, and I'll go for like you just have to stay moving because otherwise you just fall off the deep end super quick.
One thing I've gotten from you is over the years is if you're sick or you're tired or we all have those days where you just don't want to fucking do it,
Yeah.
do something.
Yep.
So if you can wake up, you can do something. You can come in here, do some box jumps. You can do some lunges. You can squat sub-maximal weights, but you can't just miss it.
Yeah.
If it's at 2:00 in the morning and that's the only time you got, or if it's at 11:30 at night and that's the only time you got, just do it.
And I know the big button is now like everybody's like, oh, you need to sleep, you need to do this, you need to do that, but like you have to sacrifice something.
You also need
And
to
I know,
stimulate.
yeah, and you hear these like Instagram fucking people that are just like, oh, you need 8 hours of sleep, and then you need this, and then you need that. That is very true, right? To get that most optimal, biggest you can get, most in shape, whatever fuck you want to call it. Like you need those steps, but sometimes life gets in the way, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm learning from a couple guys that like just to help lose weight, like they'll blame it on their kids or they'll blame it on, oh, I got to do this and I got to pick them up and I work nights and I understand that. I totally get it, but you still have to work out. You still got to do something, right?
Yeah.
And like how I've told a couple guys now, it's just like people don't know the difference between like extra movement. Like walking isn't a workout.
No.
Walking is extra movement, right? And they don't know the difference between a workout and extra movement. So they're like, I just say, if you're sweating, you're working out, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing something that is putting stress in your body, causing it to sweat, and your heart rate's up, and you're trying to move, and you're continuing to move and push through those like hard times of working out, then you're working out. But if you're just going for a walk with your kids and your wife, that's extra movement. That's calories burned. That's keeping the metabolism going. That's what like the Rhino says, right? Go for a 10-minute walk after, right? That's all just metabolism work. That's nothing the point of working out. That's just setting good habits.
It's not gonna get you stronger.
And that's the same thing. That's the mindset of what has to be in a strength sport athlete or any really athlete you have to show up to work. Right? You can't just come in and just do blow Joe shit.
This man sounds like this loser shit when I say this, but like when I come to work out, it's like the best part of my day.
Yeah.
I always look forward to working out. Like, every time I come in, like this is
even when you don't want to do it.
I know. Yeah, today I felt terrible. I was going to throw up. I still squatted.
Yeah. Throw up. We'll clean it.
That's the other thing too. Is like that's like you're getting at here is like training partners and all that shit. You need people to push you, and you need people to be on the same level as you, above you, and then once you get a little better, you should always. I like to always have somebody underneath because then you're not only just trying to balls out beat the guy that's better than you. You're also like, hey, this is why I did this. This is what I see, right? Even in the fact of like you, Dieter, like it's nice that you're starting to catch things on that we're saying over and over and over again, and then you fix it, and then all of a sudden, oh look, that person has that problem. Most of the time, everybody has the same issues,
Yeah.
right? It's always the same issues. It's just sometimes when I say something, it doesn't click, but then somebody else will say something and it
Slightly
clicks.
different.
Yeah, it's all you're doing is the cues. Most of the cues that everybody says, even the big guys, they ever come fucking hear this, right? They're saying the same thing. They're just saying it in a different way, and all of a sudden, boom! I think that
It's important to have multiple cues.
yeah. What's that guy? Is it Sullivan? Joe Sullivan?
Oh, Joe Sullivan.
Yeah, like he's got some weird shit now. He's got that powerlifting bodybuilding wife that's just a beast, right? And,
Oh, Brianna.
yeah, and he's a beast. They're like record holders, and then they're just doing weird shit, like they're doing the single arm presses or you see all that stuff now. Like you're just changing the stimulus.
Well, he's a big guy. What we did today with the triple extensions, he does those all the time.
Yeah, it's just a different way of movement, and so like that's the other thing is people don't have to like come in here deadlift, bench, and squat, right? I don't do that anymore. Like that crushes you, right?
Total body work in one day. Yeah.
Well, or even that, you just deadlift and you deadlift and you deadlift and like it's just like it's so much stress.
You develop an issue like I've been having, and I'm sure you're gonna remember, but I'm getting stronger, but my speeds are terrible. And you and Brett both said the same thing. You're not an athlete right now.
Yeah,
you're just lifting.
Yep. You have to play the fine line between being an athlete and being a strength sport athlete, right? That's why I say like strong man is harder than powerlifting,
100%.
right? Because powerlifting, you have your three main lifts, right? You're going all balls out to do those things, and you put the back half behind that of training, how much work that takes to do those three movements. But you go to a strongman, you might be fucking picking up a car. It's a deadlift form, or it's a squat form, or it's a press form, but it's a different movement.
And it's not always maximum.
Yeah, which I like.
Distance, endurance shit.
I'm a big fan of like timed reps.
Yeah.
Go for a minute, see how many you can do. And it's not at a max level or not a max weight, but you're going and going and going.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Speed bar when I was kill myself.
Yeah, it's just putting that different stim, and that's where people don't understand is you don't have to fucking do the heavy shit. Just move.
Yeah.
Do anything, right? Find dumb shit to do and you like it.
So going back to, you said you ran a Chico, you ran a 531 conjugate, all these programs, right?
Yeah.
I know I'm a big conjugate guy, so are you.
Yep.
But do you believe that rotating different styles of programs helps you the best?
100%.
Like going from a Chico to a conjugate to and not staying.
Yeah, you learn
you
learn what you like and don't like.
Yeah.
Immediately, right? And you learn you learn what you're weak in, and you learn why can these programs athletes do this better than me.
Yeah.
Right. And then you start playing the whole weave the web between like what I like and what they do and what my weakness are. Is you have to be a thinking dog per se, or you have to think about what you're doing.
Game.
Yeah. Why am I doing this? Why? I believe that's why these NFL and the NBA and the big sporting events or big sporting leagues, right? Their players just from early on have put all their faith, their eggs in one basket with these trainers and these coaches and these right. And they just say, "Yep, this is what you do." There's no thought process behind it, right? That's the trainer's job is to do that. But what happens is, it happens to me all the time. Is like you get focused in one way of avenue of doing things, and it's not good enough. It's closing your mind. Yeah, you're not like you crush the hamstrings. Yes, your hamstrings are really strong, but now what's your low back isn't catching up, or your quads aren't catching up, or your hips aren't catching up. And then in athletic sports, per se, like football and basketball and all the other shit, like that, your mindset has to be thinking all the time that these are athletes, these are not strength. And I'm sure that is what's going on, but they just don't. There's no thought process behind it. And the athlete goes, "Oh, this is what I'm told to do. Okay, I'll do it."
But they don't understand why.
Yeah, there's no like, I should probably do this because this is starting to get stronger. This is, you know what I mean? Your body can't be awkward or can't be unbalanced. You have to be balanced.
I feel like it's everything in life. You have to find the balance.
Yeah, everything.
You can't have like a super strong chest and your back's all.
Yep. I mean, I wouldn't say that about doing all kinds of drugs, but yeah.
How do we, going back to the training partner now, okay, because I know you work out with Brett.
Yep.
What drew you to Brett, and how did he influence your powerlifting success? Because I'm pretty confident in saying he was at all your meets.
Yeah.
Even nationals.
Yeah, we competed together in nationals.
So how did he better you as a lifter, help you understand training? Just tell me about Brett.
Yeah,
Like in a training aspect.
So my personality, I need someone to push against, and someone needs to push against me.
Yeah.
Right. You just need to buck heads all the time. Right. That's what works for me, and that's the way I like to train. But this is all for me personally. Is I just need someone to push me, and I also need someone to beat. I need to be training with something better than
You gotta
me.
chase someone.
Yeah, I always need to be trying to catch someone. And that's what helps the most. And he has the personality that like he will not back down.
Yeah, he
Like
won't.
he's one of those persons that even if I beat him, no you didn't because you did this wrong, or no you didn't because you
Yeah.
did this, right? Or let's add another movement into it. Now I can beat you, right? And even if he's cheating himself, he's pushing me harder, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm pushing it that much harder, so then it makes him that much better, right? And it goes back and forth. That was the biggest thing, again, personally for me, that really really helped was he would hold me accountable, right? I worked nights at the time when we were working, and I was doing powerlifting, and he would not let me miss. If I was feeling sick or like not just beaten down, I can't miss. Like that, you need to be here at this time because I need to work, and you need to go to sleep, and you need to eat.
So you were working nights, right?
Yeah.
And would you just get off shift and train, or were you training before shift?
Yeah. So I would work. I would come home from work at 6:30. I'd get the kids ready and everybody out the door. They'd be gone by 7:30. And in that time, I'd put something in my face or drink a bunch of water, whatever I needed to do to feel ready to go. Have a cup of coffee, maybe some pre-workout. And Brett was waiting for me at the door. He'd be waiting at my house, or he'd be waiting at the wire. We'd ride together just so that there was no like. He just held me accountable for everything I did, and it's your fault if you fail. It's your fault if you succeed.
Yeah.
It's not the training partner. It's yours at the end of the day.
So was it just you had a crew, or was it just you and him?
We had a back ass crew that it was me and him. But
Yeah.
then you always
Sometimes guys
know the guys.
You had Prano for a little while.
You always know the guys that would be there that are kind of like sneaking up. They like what you do and they come in for a little bit, right? Or the guys at the gym that are just typical bros, right? Everybody goes at the same time and chit chats for a little bit. But it was really just me and Brett.
All right. So obviously you've won three state championships.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you like talking about it.
I don't like talking about it, but yeah.
What, outside of training partners and programming, what drove you to win all three of those? Because you won 3 state championships. The best overall lifter means your dot score was the highest.
Yeah.
What drove you to want to keep winning those 3? Like obviously that was your goal: win state every year, win state every year, win state. You can tell by looking at the sheet. Was somebody chasing you in competition-wise outside of here?
I had a couple guys that were really close because I started at 205 and then I dropped on the 181. And the whole reason behind that was, it was one of those things where when you first start working out, especially when I started powerlifting and strength sport, like Brett was a monster. Like he was just an overall tubby but strong fucking dude. And my thought process was, well, why don't you want to look clean or lean, or why don't you want to look? And I was battling with that, like, ooh, you get a little fatter and you get a little, but you're just eating because you need that food to recover, right?
Yeah.
So like, back to there was guys that were definitely pushing in really close to me, like 205 wise.
There was that Asian guy from Madison.
Yeah.
I remember his name. Trains with John Hack.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a really good squatter, and for me, just the fear of losing kept pushing me, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to lose.
You hate losing more than you like winning.
Yeah, that's about how it was.
It's a Chuck V quote.
Yeah,
right there.
I don't care how I win, but I'm gonna fucking win, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like, there was no one really chasing me per se. I just didn't like to lose. Is the biggest thing that like it's an attitude.
Pushed
thing.
yourself.
Yeah, it's an attitude thing that, especially once you win once, right? And I was back in that time. I was like trying to make it as there's no professional powerlifters, but like you see the guys that
get an elite total.
Yeah, they get elite totals, and then they get these sponsors, and then they get these like they're all over Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, and they just make money by powerlifting. So I was like, I could do that. That's cool, right? And that's what everybody wants to do: not work at all and make a bunch of money, right? By sponsors. So like that was the goal. So then like you start pushing and you put yourself out there. So now you have to show that you're working hard, and I'm not faking it, right? Because I have to win, and
Yeah,
I
you
have this
have to.
guy that's counting on me to push him so he can push me, and then too, like on top of all that, you have your family, right? I had two young kids. He had a brand new baby, and we'd be training in our basements. It just plays this whole factor, and it was just like you have to keep winning, and like the end game goal was like we can be professional strongman or power lifters,
Yeah.
right? Then it turned into, well, I started getting some attention around, and a keto company asked me, he's like, hey, we'll sponsor you and do all this. You just have to do keto. So that was the first time start now dabbling into different diets to see how it affected my training and how it affected my totals and how it affected
Did
me,
it?
how it affected how I looked, right? That was a big thing too. I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I like to look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So um I said I got the keto company, and I like was like, well, I'll just drop weight class. Let's do the whole like angle where I'm not super fat, but I'm not like super pretty either. So let's try and play that game, and I can still powerlift. You can be lean and powerlift, right? The whole thing.
Yeah.
Just trying to hit as many avenues as possible, and it I did. I dropped a fuck ton of weight.
You dropped 23 pounds.
Yeah, so
I cut that weight for 181.
Yeah, so I walked around at like a one, because we just did it. You just do it slowly, right? Just like I tell everybody else. If you're going to cut weight, go slow and get comfortable in your lifts, because your lifts are going to change. Your leverage points, your how your belt fits, how your pants fit, how your briefs fit, how everything fits is going to change as you start losing weight. Um, so I just did it slow, and I got to like 190. I think now, like 198 to 195. I'm like, oh, this is super simple. Now I can just do it, right? Now I did the keto the whole time, and I felt great. Like, and I do believe that the keto is good for some things, but for strength sports, I don't think it is at all. Because once you start getting to that lower level of body fat, I have no energy. No, not energy's great, but it's not. I don't have that extra fat to protect my joints and to protect everything, right? So I got down and I did my first Badger at 181, I think it was. And
183.
Yeah,
Sorry.
or 183.
Yep.
And it was like I just felt beat up. My numbers are shit. And then I dabbled in like, do I try heeled shoes? Do I try flat shoes? So that for when I dropped weight, I tried heeled shoes to try and help me, push back harder and sit flatter on my feet and all that stuff. And I found out I did not like it. It's just a game of figuring out what the fuck you like, especially as like an amateur athlete like I am.
So your total dropped
Yep.
from 205 to 183 in that first meet you did. You dropped right around 70 pounds in your total, give or take.
Yeah, and I just felt like shit, and I played the game to just know. Now I got a little couple of meets under my belt, and you just start, your handler is just paying attention to the whole meet. Like, okay, you need to do this to win, or you need to do this to win. You need not, let's see what we can do, right? Now you start playing the smart game, and I only need to hit this to keep up to this, or I need to stay here third, and I know my deadlift is better than his, so I can just inch up on him. So
Save energy, don't go full.
Yeah, it was one of those things, and I felt like garbage. And I'm not bashing the keto thing by any means. It definitely helps some people, and you read all this stuff about or watch videos about it now, right? It does work, but I don't believe it's in a realm of where strength sports would be. You can definitely limit carbs.
Yeah, but you can't eliminate them.
You can't eliminate them and then just run off animal fat, and fasting is truly all it is.
So going on to your last state meet, excuse me, nope, these dates are out of order. Nationals.
Yeah.
It's nationals.
Nationals
What happened before nationals?
Like, what do you mean? What happened? Like, so nothing really happened. That was after nationals.
That was after nationals.
That was after nationals.
Let's talk about nationals first.
Nationals was super fucking cool.
Yeah.
Were you nervous going down there? Like, what'd you feel like?
Where were nationals held? I never
Orlando.
Orlando.
Yeah, they
Was it like a huge event, or was it kind of like
it's a big event, and like they change it every year. It just happened to be in Orlando that year, and they held it in the airport. You've been to Orlando Airport, like up above there's like hotel rooms and conference rooms. They held it in 2 conference rooms that just opened up, so there was probably seating for like 200 people, and there's vendors, and there's all that's just like strongman is, but it's just at a bigger scale. And then you have 3 platforms, and then they just go, like, it's just like a
different sessions and fights.
Yep. Different weight classes go different days. It's a 3-day event. Right?
Yeah.
I met Ray Williams. I met like all the big dudes. I met
Big Ray Williams.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. He probably doesn't remember me now.
No, probably not.
I was starstruck.
That was 2017.
I shook his hand, and I was like, holy fuck. But you just meet monsters all over the place. And little old me running around thinking I'm tough. You find out real fast that you're not the toughest guy in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's cool. It's a big eye opener. Nervous wise, like I was always nervous before I meet. I get the nervous peas. Like I was
Nervous peas?
running back and forth to piss all the time. And
Yeah,
I'm like, ah.
I'm the same way.
So like, I wasn't any extra nervous. It was just one of those things where now I'm not only doing just Wisconsin meets. Now I've brought my entire, because after that we went to Disney. We did the whole Florida thing, right? So now my family always came to watch, but now I made them travel down to Florida
Yeah.
to watch me powerlift. Right? Yeah, like so I'm like I got to show up, and so I'm more nervous about that, and then making sure kids are okay, and doing the whole dad thing as well, right?
Yeah.
And trying to stay at weight, right? Because when I lifted at 205, I'd walk around at 215. So
Yeah.
just to be comfortable.
So do you remember how many lifters were in your weight class?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yeah.
How hard was it? You took, I was wrong, you took 22nd, not 20th, but whatever.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
sorry, man. Knocking you off that pedestal.
No, that's
how hard was it to get that 20? Because 22nd in the nation, that's pretty good.
22nd total, or is that 22nd in your class?
It's in the class. So the classes are held. So there's like hundreds of lifters in each class, and then they also have like a prime time, like at night on each 3 days, where they bring like the super heavies in, or they bring like the really
cool
strong
guys.
Women in, or like the women that are pulling crazy totals. They put all those guys at the end, and they make this really big. So yeah, so like, but like, what did you ask? I'm sorry.
How hard was it to achieve that ranking?
Oh, like
did nationals push?
Yeah,
you
you just go out and now you're competing against a national stage instead of just a state stage. Yeah, like so like state meets weren't that big of a deal after the first one, right? But then you just take the next level, and honestly, I was like, if I do well here, what does it take to qualify for Worlds? Does it take to qualify? Like you start, your just thought process becomes bigger, and like, ooh, I'm pretty good at this, and I'm not a guy who brags and boasts about anything, but you start getting the clarification that maybe I am pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And you walk up to nationals, and I mean, if you go look at videos like on my Instagram where the last deadlift at the nationals, if I would have hit that one, I would have been like in the teens instead of 22nd. So like it's that last lift that makes you who you are, right? Everybody remembers you're the last one. They don't care how you got there. They don't care anything about that. They just see what they see in front of you, and like it's just a different stage, and it's just like it's all celebrated and this big deal, and it's cool. It's a cool thing.
So you took 22nd at nationals. You did 2 more meets after that, one being the state open we already talked about.
Yep.
Or excuse me, both of them being the state open. You won those. But I was missing more.
No,
you had an injury.
Yeah, that's the big one that kind of knocked it out.
What happened there?
So I wanted to do, the plan was, so I did the 205 nationals, and then I was like, ooh, I did that state meet to do the 183 or 181, whatever it was. I wanted to go back to nationals is what it wanted to be.
183 was, yep, that was 2018.
I did that state meet, and as I was training for that meet, I was deadlifting, and I just like, I don't know if I felt the pop or heard I felt something, and I don't remember if I heard something or not. But it was nothing crazy in weight, and then all of a sudden,
deadlifting, right?
Yeah, I put the weight down, and my left knee just like was not functionable. I ended up like, I was home alone. I was training. I think it was a day that we couldn't train with Brett, so I was working out by myself, and I slept till noon, then worked out, and in my basement. And I ended up like crawling up the stairs because I was in so much pain. Couldn't figure out why. There was no like big swelling. There's no like torn hamstring. There's no there's nothing there. And I'm like, what the fuck? So now you have no gratification. Like when you blow your bicep, right? You get or chest. You see this big bruise.
You know what's hurt.
Yeah. So I went to work that night, and I was in pain. I was like limping around.
You didn't tell anyone?
No, I didn't tell anybody. I wanted to go back, and I wanted to.
Sorry, Lisa.
Yeah. I didn't want to say anything. So then, I didn't know what it was. You can't just be like, oh, I have a serious injury, right? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Went through a couple more days. I didn't train because it was so sore, but I couldn't like go upstairs. I couldn't without like crawling. I could start to like walk around, but I couldn't like. I couldn't like do a nice step. I was always like limping everywhere. I hid it from everyone really well. I trained very minimally just because it hurt so bad. And then I don't know, like a month out, we'll say.
Month later?
Yeah, a month. Yeah, like month, I was like, when you really start to like hit prep hard and like really
Yeah.
go.
That's when it starts to get heavy.
I
for a
was
little bit.
noticing, I was like, I can't lift my weights. Why I'm fucking eating bottles of ibuprofen and Tylenol beyond belief. I was crawling up the stairs one night for my kids. We have a bedtime routine that still stands today, but my wife was in front of me and I was crawling up the stairs.
Your kids are pretty young at this time, huh?
Yeah.
2 or 3, something like that?
Yeah. And she's like, why are you crawling up the stairs? I was like, oh, okay, just how, whatever. And I tried to like stand up and she watched me like, wow, almost fall down. And she's like, what's going on? So then I told her.
And for people that don't know, she's in the medical field.
I told her, and of course she's like, you need to go get checked out. And I told her I'm not going until after this meet. Like I just trained so long. Yeah, again, the mindset. Now I have these. That's the problem too, is you set these mindsets and goals and these patterns.
You don't want to stop.
And now you're not going to break them, and it doesn't matter what the hell happened to you. So like,
you die before you.
Like somebody beats me, fuck that. So told her, and we didn't look into it at all. I just trained. She kind of ignored it. She didn't want to know, and I didn't care either. So pushed it, and ended up going to the state meet. It's funny because it's so weird. I was able to like brace it, make a wrap out of it, and I pulled with the bum knee. I pulled like a 645 in training, like at the end, not at the meet.
Yeah.
It's on social media, and I was like, oh, I felt great.
I remember that.
I feel great. Like I was like,
you had a sleeve on it.
Yeah, I put a big fucking heavy sleeve on it, super tight, and
Question?
Yeah, just like a knee sleeve.
The black one.
Yeah, super tight. Like, oh, I feel great. Maybe this is no issue. It's just me, or it's me being a pussy, or whatever. And keep pushing it, but the pain was always there. I couldn't walk right. I'm like, what is going on? And the training would go like this. Like one day I'd feel super good and no pain. The next day I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? So, anyways, went through it. Did the state meet. My numbers weren't where I wanted them to be at that last state meet.
This was the last state meet?
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was I was like, I don't know what's going on, but pushed through it. Ended up winning the overall as well. And then we were out. Of course, you go out to eat after and you do whatever. And
Culver's.
Yeah, you just fist pound food. And I just looked at my wife and I was like, we need to go in because now I can't walk after lifting. And it's weird because it like the squat hurted, of course, but not too bad. The bench press is what crushed it, and I don't know why. Me just pushing on that knee and that outward pressure.
That's a lot more pressure on the quad.
It was just like it crushed it. So my bench was really shitty. My deadlift was kind of shitty. I tried to do things to like take the pressure off my knee, and it didn't look very pretty. But
you did tie all your weights in that meet to your national weights.
Yeah, and it was like that was me. I think that day I think I had like a half bottle of Tylenol, a half bottle of protein. That day I was just. I could not. Just wanted to stay in front of the pain.
For all people watching, don't do that.
Don't do that.
So then, I went in and ended up. I blew the bottom of the bottom of my femur out.
So like splintered.
Yeah, it basically like shattered and went all over my knee.
And
so
split.
And so I had like a hole. I have pictures somewhere, and there was a hole like that big in the bottom of my femur.
Like
so I blew my bone. Yeah, I blew my bone out. Is what it was.
Oof.
So it kind of made sense that why some days were good and some days weren't. It all depended.
Compression
The compression tied together, but then those shards were pointing everywhere in
You
me.
must have.
Like right.
But you didn't tear any muscles.
No,
just the bone.
That's why you need bug muscles so you can't tear them.
As Brett would say, we gotta get them tendons strong.
But so then I had that, and I had the Oates procedure done, where they basically take the cartilage that you have and fill it like Play-Doh.
Yeah, and wait till it hardens.
They like you see like if you Google Oates procedure, there's like actual surgery. You can see this whole surgery, and they put a hole through to like filter water through to like flush all that shit out, and then they make another hole that they can work in, and they like take your kneecap and they bend it way back so they can get in there. And
so do you have pins in your knee now?
I have nothing.
Nothing, just the cartilage.
No, just the cartilage is sold from the other side of my knee, and then
how does your knee feel now? Does it feel kind of? You can still tell, or
I can. So I've got my family has a history of like bow-legged and arthritis and all that stuff. So like, I think from the start of like bringing it way back to like football and hockey, all constant contact sports, like I just have bad genes for arthritis, right? Or good genes for arthritis. But that continuous, and then finally putting that pressure with the sumo deadlift
Yeah,
Oh,
just laterally.
Yeah, it just pulled and
Do you think
blew.
you maybe had like microfractures in your bottom of your femur? from,
It
like,
very well
impact?
could be. Yeah,
I don't think there's any way for him to know that.
Dr. Henry said that he's like, I filled the big holes, but you have a bunch of microscopic holes. So at some point, like every adult now, we'll probably need fake knees, and we'll probably need at some point. But like right now, I feel great. Like I can
After
tell.
squatting it in?
Yeah, I can tell when the weather's shitty.
Yeah.
Like, right before I wake up and I'm like, oh, my knees are stiff. Or if it rains for 2 days straight, I'm stiff.
Yeah.
But like I feel fine. When I deadlift super heavy, I sometimes feel it, or if I do a big like bunch of squat movements, like the squat and the high bar squat and the walking lunges or stuff like that, it starts to weigh on it. But I can, like, right now I'm running a lot because my
Yeah.
buddy's running, so I'm trying to be as cool as him. But like I feel good. I'm still an athlete. I can wrestle around with the kids. I can go do adult wrestling meets that I did last year. I can go do all kinds of shit. It's just I have to like be very, very cautious on how
Yeah.
hard I push it. And when I notice when my hamstrings are really tight and sore, it pulls on my knee and I'm really
Yeah.
sore, right? So I have to just stay active, stretching, and I don't know.
And that brought you to the end of powerlifting.
Yeah, that was the end of it. That was
how was that decision?
I
Was that a
think-
group, like, obviously your family has supported you this whole time.
Yeah.
How did that was that a conversation you had to have? You don't have to go into detail, but
No, like it's one of
How
those
hard
things.
was that to
Yeah,
walk away
it's
from?
hard because
you rose up quick.
Yeah,
You have such aspirations. And
yeah, like it was one of those
Shit,
things
man.
where I'm like, fuck, I'm good at this. Let's keep going. And it was hard, but not hard at the same time. Like, because you start to get this like picture of yourself,
Yeah.
and like I'm known as the strong guy, right? I'm known as the guy who can, like, and I still struggle with it today.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I'm gonna help powerlifters, I need to be able to at least lift some fucking weight, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the picture you start creating of yourself and what you think people see you
Your
as.
self-image.
So like, yeah, it becomes this like, ooh, I need to be strong. I need to be strong. So like, I definitely put myself in check once in a while. Like, just go walk or go run
Yeah.
or go do a CrossFit workout, right? Don't go anything heavy. Just move,
Well,
right? So now it's almost like getting back to
But
where
you never stopped training.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's just getting back to like where I believe people should be now. It's
Yeah.
just, and I'm all for people going to strength sports. Don't get me wrong, and I'm all for people pushing as hard as you can to be whatever you want to be and can be.
Yep.
But you need to first and foremost be a human being, right? But then also an athlete. Like today's day and age is fat. Like if there's no reason to have that your kids be that fat or you to be that fat, right? Your job as a parent is to protect your family, right? As a male person,
Yep.
your job is to protect your family, right? Go back to basic instincts,
Yep.
right? So if you can't do that, or you can't go for a walk with your child because you're too obese, you're not a human being anymore. You're not a productive person in society. And I don't care if I catch grief on here, but like, this is kind of my soapbox where like, you need to stay in shape, right? I have family that
Yeah, you need to be able to move.
Yeah,
spend
I
time
have
with your family.
I
do
have
stuff.
I have family that are in this situation. Someone very close to me that he realized that, hey, I just need to be in shape, right? I like the mountain bike with my son and
Yeah.
do all that stuff, and he comes with me and can't even go for a mile bike
You
ride.
want to be
on some
60
hills,
years
right?
old and being able to be active.
What do you think's going to happen when you're 60 years old and you can't even move?
Yep.
Right? That's just the generation that's coming, and it scares me, and I beat the hell out of my kids, not physically, but like thought process.
That's a bad choice of words.
Not physically. Let's put that right there. But I like just to say, just like we got to stay active, right? They're in a bunch of sports. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Both of my kids are very active in sports. They're very good kids. But like, let's go. Like I just got them on mile runs. My wife kicked it up one day and go for a run for a mile, see what you can do. And they started doing it and they love it. And I can't believe how good my daughter can run.
Yeah.
I can't believe how good my son can run. And they're, like I said, they're athletes, but they're young and they're, set it young. That's the biggest thing. So
that brought you, obviously your powerlifting career ended. Sad. I know I was sad.
I feel like a lot of injuries, like just career-ending injuries, happen when you're like doing lightweight.
Oh yeah,
Isn't that kind of dumb that happens? Like I feel like
I want to say you were pulling like 315.
It was nothing. Like it was on warm-ups.
And it seems like a pretty common thing. It's like someone's like, "Oh, I was just warming up, and all of a sudden, poof."
Yeah, I've had weird like back injuries too when I was training. We do like carries once in a while outside,
Mhm.
and you just pick up a 45-pound weight and you just bend weird. You're
I wonder if it's like
no.
even your mind, oh, it's so light, I don't really have to like prepare my body.
Could
to do
be.
It.
Yeah, I've done it
right.
putting a 2.5-pound dumbbell away.
Yeah, like it happens, and that sucks. And it's I'm not mad about it now. I still have the whole like little man complex for sure, right? That just I gotta be the best in the gym, or I gotta be the
Yeah.
biggest here, I gotta be the
Don't
strongest
yell
here,
at me, I
fastest
think you're
here.
the best.
No, thanks, buddy. But it helps, right? Now that I try to push that on people more
Yeah.
than anything else, and not in a bad way, but you should walk into a room and feel good about yourself. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. I don't know who the fuck that guy is. That salesman guy. Do you ever see that bald guy? He always
Yeah, I
wears
don't remember his
short shorts.
name, but I know what you're talking about.
Like you see him all over the place. That motivational guy.
Oh, that super big chin dude, the guy. With the
Yeah, he
super
does
big voice?
sales. He does
Yeah.
sales. He's fucking awesome. Where he just pushes out and like you should walk into a room and people should turn to look at you, not you look at other people. Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like that's just confidence there, and you can be chubby and still have that. I'm
Still
not
have
saying you
confidence,
can't
yeah.
be chubby, right? And I'm not saying you can't enjoy things in life, but you need to be able to
Walk 10 steps
walk
without
or
dying.
take flights of stairs and not be dying from it. So like I don't know. That's just now. That's kind of where that is now, and that's where like that's how I feel, and that's how I try to push people. But then like people like Dieter and a couple other people here that are trying strength sports. I don't like just going into a strength sport or powerlifting and just participating.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
gotta-
a participator, right?
You gotta win.
Yeah, I'm there to win. And if you don't, I wouldn't be disappointed, and you shouldn't be disappointed yourself. You did something that most people don't do,
Yeah.
right? You got in front of however many people and showed them how strong you are, showed
Yeah.
them how good you are, how hard you've been working. But
You said one thing.
there's no participation trophies.
You said one thing to me before my second state meet. You said if you don't podium, this was a waste of time.
Yeah, that's how you should. That's where your brain should be.
Yep.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, of course, not a big deal, right? Whatever. But that comes after that.
Yeah.
All that thought, like okay, the healing process of losing, right? But when you're training for something, you're not just training to participate. That's what
Yeah.
I think.
Big dumb mindset.
Yeah, that's what I try to push.
It's like, I'm not going to go out on a football field and hope I do okay.
Yeah,
Like,
like
when I won this meet, man, you guys go, dude, don't worry about putting. My goal is to win.
Yeah,
That's
and
the whole point.
it's a fine, and that's a coach's job to have that balance of pushing you to do really hard, but also realize, hey, you gotta take a step back and
Yeah.
just relax. And hey, remember this is your first one, and remember, right? We could fucking cut you down to 183, and then keep pushing your training, and then keep pushing a meet out, and then get you there, right? You just keep playing this game of trying to play catch up. Let's jump in, but at the same time, yeah, let's get that mental aspect
Yeah.
rock solid. So even if you do lose, go back to the drawing board and go.
Even today when we were squatting, and I thought you like helped me with the squat, I got angry.
Yeah, no, it's all it is like it's
Little
just,
angry Dieter.
it's just trying to help people out, and it's I think it's fun too, and it pushes me to see other people succeed, or to if you see someone struggling with something, it pushes me to learn more, or to teach you differently, or to read another book or read another program and why this
Yeah.
isn't working or what this is working, or maybe you just can't do certain things. So now it puts my brain at work to push hard to do other things, right? That's what's the fun about kids, right? In this summer, right? All those, hopefully more kids, we get a bunch of kids in there, and you can see different body types, and you can see what works for some and what doesn't. Some kids aren't as confident as other kids, and you have to make them get into a situation where you have to meet someone new, or you
Yeah.
have to compete, right? That's why exercise games for kids is
It's
perfect.
huge.
Yeah, it's perfect. You have that I want to win aspect, so they're going to try.
That never stops in your training. You go to college, they make it competitive. We'll call them games.
Yeah.
But University of Wisconsin does tug of war with tires. They teach you how to be aggressive in a controlled environment, but competitive outside of the football field. Those aren't strength athletes. Those are football players.
Yeah.
But they're learning to be competitive in the weight room. That's what's driving. You can write anything down saying you have to hit this weight for this many sets. But if you hit that and you hit more, I want to beat you.
Comes back to human nature, like competitive nature. You want to be the best there is, just simply be the best there is, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you see someone better than you, you should be like, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy.
Yeah. That's
Like-
exactly how it should be.
That's
So-
back to human nature.
Talking about coaching and all that stuff, athlete development. Obviously, we're here.
Yeah.
When did you first start working with athletes or their athletes, strength sport athletes? When did that start? Because obviously it started before this place.
Yeah, so we start. I don't really know when it started. Right when Brett and we started powerlifting. I don't want to say take the world by storm, but we did take this local bullshit by storm because we train against guys in Madison, Milwaukee, like big gyms or specific powerlifting gyms. Right, we just worked out at the Y. At some point, it, the Y didn't have what we needed, and we wanted a different environment. Right, we wanted to make noise, we wanted to be loud, we wanted to slam shit around.
Create an atmosphere.
Yeah, you wanted to. So it ended up being where Brett had shit at his house, and I had. He's like, we can work out at my house. And I said, yeah, let's go. And I went there. I'm like, dude, this is fucking awesome. And I built an attachment on my garage, and I built the gym, and I had it in the basement before that. So like, and two, we both had kids, baby kids, where like they couldn't go to daycare, so we had to bring them somewhere. And Brett was sneaking me into the Y, or I was going. So like, it was one of those things that we just made our own gym. But after that, for a while, you'd go to meets and win, and of course, people ask, oh, where do you train? What do you train? How do you do it? What do you do? And we would literally say we train in our basement, and they would laugh at us. But then you look at, we just beat all of you, made you look like idiots, right? And so like, we got to be doing something right. So then we'd take a couple guys.
Basement, Lisa makes egg sandwiches.
So like it was just, we took athletes, and we didn't take a bunch in by any means. Like it wasn't people flooding in to come by us. We did help a couple people, and it's just like you start learning how to be a coach instead of an athlete, or a coach instead of player, right? And I've always liked that, and I did a little bit of that on the side, but it just was never really clicked. It was just by myself and word of mouth, not a big deal. But then I don't know, having kids and like having them start working out. It was just like I gotta show them, and it kind of just progressed over the time. And then like me being in the fire department, like I'll help guys out whenever I can, and you basically just take now everything you've learned from doing diets and different gym movements, or not gym, different gyms and different programming and different thought processes and different everything, and like what worked for you. And now here, see if you can do it. And then all of a sudden it doesn't work. And you're like, oh shit, now I got to learn something new, right? So like there was no real start to this. It just kind of pegged along. Yeah.
Didn't you train the football team a couple years ago?
Yeah. So it.
I think it was like 2016.
Yeah, we did. Like that was, I forgot about that. Yeah. So we, Matt Parano was a football coach. He started working out with us because he was interested in doing a powerlifting meet. Every dude wants to lift. Yeah, every dude wants to be in a dude atmosphere.
I believe you got Matt up to a 500 squat.
Yeah, like he just started doing really well, and then that's what was missing in the football realm here. So they asked if we would come help like their conditioning days, or and then in their strength spots. So it ended up working out for us, and I don't know if Matt's gonna get in trouble for this or not, but we worked out at the high school before the high schoolers would have their practice or football, and then they would come in and see us, and then we just start helping them, right? Just take an hour out of our time and help, and then it ended up progressing to where we started helping them on their conditioning days and started helping them there. So like you're taking that west side strength movement side of it, right? The pulling the sleds and the band work, and and we're starting to push that all along. So all of a sudden we got these kids that we're helping out, and we're doing it for free, but it's like, oh, whatever, we get to work out at the high school. But you see all these kids now start to respond, and I think, if I remember correctly, they did fairly well that year.
They went level 4. They ended up losing to River Valley. I don't remember the score, but one game from state championship.
Yeah, and like, so then Matt kind of took what he learned and pushed it on the school, or the high schoolers, and it seemed to continue to work. But just the issue is that someone who learns from somebody else only knows as far as that person taught them, right? So then you just need to progress. So yeah, it turned out like, I don't know if the high school didn't want to pay, or if however it worked out, where I'm not going to do it for free. It's a lot of fucking work, right? So that's how it worked out. And now I just do it for free at work because I work with those guys. I would want them all to be in shape, right? Yeah. So it's just continuing to learn and not have a closed mind.
What do you think are key factors in athlete development, both physically and mentally? For we'll say like your high school athletes that we work mostly with.
I think the biggest part of that is learning how to do the movements, but also, like we talked about before, not just learning them to learn them to do them, right? Why are we doing them? What will this help me in my specific sport, right? Yeah. A squat is in every sport almost. A deadlift, maybe you can push for it. A bench press, maybe. But hey, let's do this with the force of moving, plus a run after, or a ball slam, or right. Your squat is strong, but where is this going to push over to the next your actual sport, right? So
How do you make it
yeah,
sport
I
specific?
think a big thing is like having the athlete understand why they're doing it, what they're doing,
Yeah.
why is it right, why is it wrong, right? Because
'Cause
every athlete's a little different too.
these kids they don't need to be expert squatters or expert bench pressers. They just need to squat something
Yeah,
and they need to press something.
yeah, you're putting stress on joints that are going to be stressed on in their sport, right? So that's super important for them to just basically know why they're doing that, what they're doing. And the end of the game, this might be a bad business proposition, but like I don't want to coach the same kid for fucking 6 years. Not to be mean,
Yeah.
right? But I want you to learn what I taught you or you taught you
And apply it.
and go, right? And then too, you're always welcome back. Don't think that you're
Yeah.
never, I don't want to coach you. But at the same time, I don't need to be yelling at you 17,000 times, knees out, or sit back, or butt back, or chest up, or right the
Yeah.
simple cues that you should just pick
I
up.
think
Yeah.
diversity in training styles is a very important thing. Like, you can't be coached with the same guy 8 years and expect massive changes.
Yeah, you need that other win or that those other eyes on people to see
Yeah.
what they do, right? That's why high school's 4 years, college is 4 years, pros is whatever, right? You just that
Keep
progressive
progressing.
working, and then too, the other thing is too, we find, and I know you can agree, is like the work capacity of kids is just
Mhm.
nowhere, right?
Like
The
none.
reason we do these, like, and I think Matt Wenning made it famous first, the Wenning warm-ups, and then we just made it a little bigger, right? You have a workout in a workout. You're working out your weaknesses. You're working on your weaknesses while you're warming up,
Yeah.
right? And then you should have that pump or that feel of, oh, my hamstrings, I know they're weak. I worked them really hard. Now they have this pump, and now I'm going to squat. Now I can feel where my ass is. I can feel what I'm doing. I can feel my knees coming out. I can feel me sitting up. And
And that's where we're controlling volume.
yeah,
I can say 3 sets of 10 accessory all day and you can do it. But if you can hit 3 exercises for 300 reps or whatever it is, or 1,000 feet sled pull before you work out, there's your work capacity. There's
and
your
that's
volume.
and that's the funny thing is, like, I know Matt Wenning will say it, and they call it the Wenning warm-ups. But where do you think he got it from? He got it from what?
Brzezinski,
Yeah,
the Russians.
the Russians, and where do you think? Where do they that went right into West Side, right? It all just everybody just takes pieces. No one's reinventing the wheel anywhere
They're
anymore,
just
right?
kind of refining the wheel.
Yeah, you're just taking things, and the broad spectrum is
Variation.
variation, pointing out someone's weaknesses and make them stronger, right? And that's the game that we're playing with you. Is that like we find weaknesses, work them, and then stack something else. Because as soon as something gets weak, or as soon as something gets strong, something else will be weak, right? That took 5 years to learn from, for you to learn, right? And it's now it's crushing everybody else, and it's hard to begin with that because you're tired after, right?
Yep.
You should be your heart rate should be sitting at like a 130, maybe a 140, depending on what shape you're in. While those workouts are going on, you should feel like you did a workout inside of a
Well, that's
workout.
back to that balance thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back to that.
Yep. So
Also-
not you're not you're not being this like stiff strongman athlete or stiff strengthman athlete. You also are an athlete.
So, what are some pros and cons of athlete development in the Lakeshore area? Not just Two Rivers, but Mishicot, Manitowoc,
Yeah.
whatever.
So I think like we'll start with the negatives, right? The negatives is there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Nothing. Right. This is the first gym that I can remember, right? That is taking kids in and being that middleman, right? You go to Green Bay, you go to Appleton,
Plenty of them.
yeah, you go to Oshkosh, Milwaukee, right? You start getting bigger. There's always these middleman places or these or like whatever, like they're not stealing them from the school. They're basically making them better, going back to the school, and then making the school look really good because its athletes really good.
Yeah.
That's what we're missing, and we have a ton. And this is coming from when I was in high school. A ton of good athletes that are around this area that will never be known. Right? They could have. There's people that definitely could have made it bigger.
Absolutely.
Just
They
made
had that second person come in to guide them.
yeah, and we're not even. I'm going to say this on both of our hats, but we're not guiding them anywhere. As in, like, you should do this and you'll be an NFL player. You should do this
No.
and you'll be. All I'm doing is giving you tools and making you bigger, faster, stronger,
faster.
quote unquote. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's all. That's all we're doing. We're not doing anything else. And the people that think that we're stealing athletes or stealing anything, that's so ridiculous. Because all we're doing is making your school look better by helping this kid, right? Or
Yeah.
helping these
It's all
kids.
about the kids.
And two, like, look at my kids, right? My son is a decent wrestler. My daughter's in dance, softball, basketball, and all the other sports, right? And I want them to be as good as they possibly can be, and not one person can do that for them. There's a multiple of people,
Yeah,
right?
you can't.
It takes mom and dad to drive them. It takes them to work hard. It takes the coach to coach them. It takes I think the parent or coach like us to other kids that hey, let's do this to work you on faster. It takes a village of people to make one person good, right? And this is
Yeah.
that's what this is. You know what I
Takes a village
mean?
to raise a kid.
Yeah, it truly does, and especially if that kid is truly aspiring, right? Not a lot of younger, even like freshmen in high school, don't know that, but like nobody knows what's going to happen. Might as well give them the best chance they possibly can get. That's why my son is wrestling in duels in Nebraska and Ohio, and we're wrestling under two different
Yeah.
two different teams, and we're doing all this other stuff. It's like you can't stop moving either, right? If you're going to be, I get it. It's nice to have a kid that does well in 3 or 4 sports, but not a lot of kids can do that. So
a lot of
start
the, a
leveling
lot of
down,
the
right?
schools in the area, their strength coach is a gym teacher.
Yeah, and they don't know.
football
I'm not
coach or
saying
a
they don't know
parent.
anything, but they do know they can't know everything. You know what I mean? So why not let somebody else? And
Yeah.
I think the biggest part of that too is another negative is like the money's not here, or maybe it's here and nobody wants to spend it. Right? It does. I would love to do this for free. Or I would love for you to have this for free for
Yeah.
anyone, right? But you can't, and no one really wants to spend money. I think that's a negative. And
Yeah.
that just comes with the
There's
small town
so
territory.
many athletes, even up to Denmark area, which is close enough to Manitowoc County, but Denmark, Kewanee,
Especially if you
Luxembourg, Two Rivers, Michigan,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Kiwani had some
Manitowoc's got
big
what,
motherfuckers.
3,000 kids in their school system, 4,000 kids. I'm going to be wrong on the number. And you're telling me that none of these kids can go to state in something?
Yeah, like
And I'm happy for them for getting a new football coach. I think they're going to be successful. But how do you not win a game? How do you have in any sport? I'm not just calling out Manitowoc, but how do you have any sport in any school with a substantial amount of people and you can't win a game, one game?
George baseball.
And that's the thing too is you can have the best sport or best coaches in the world, but if you have athletes that are subpar, and I know that there's not every athlete is a stud athlete, right? But if you can just put a little work into them,
But every athlete can be an average
yeah,
athlete.
an average athlete will get you pretty fucking far, right?
Yeah.
I was an average athlete.
You're only going to
Nothing
have
special.
so many Chase Mathiases
Yeah.
or
It all comes down
the
to
kid from Valders or Jordan Stecklers or the kid from Kewanee that just got drafted. You're only going to have one of those every 20 years.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the team is only as strong as your weakest link. You can have star-studded athletes everywhere, but if that really kid you don't give any attention to,
Yep.
you're only as good as him.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
I agree with
You know?
you. And that's what this place is for, is to take those, maybe we get some above average kids, right? But take those average kids and you put a little bit of effort into them, and now they're above average.
Teach them how to train hard.
Yeah, that's where
Teach
it comes
them how
back
to care and be passionate.
Yeah,
it's easy to put weight on a bar.
Yep, that mindset of like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be better next year. And you see all these kids now, they come in here once and twice, and all of a sudden their thought process is, oh, I'm just doing this because maybe my parents want to, or maybe my buddy does it and it looks cool, so I want to just come hang out. And now, after a couple of sessions or a week or two, like, I could make varsity, or I can do this, and that's how you should start growing into as an individual. And like, you're day and age now where like your sophomore in high school almost needs to be thinking for the future already, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll be the first to admit, when I was in high school, I was just fuck off, right? I just played sports because I liked it. Got to hang out with my buddies. I like to work out a little bit, right? But like that mindset of coming in and now like, ooh, I'm pretty good, or ooh, I can do this, right? That's a huge thing, and it's a crazy thing to watch these kids grow, and I think it's cool. But the pros of this, like I think I kind of said it, is just being. I think there's people out there that want their kids to succeed. They just don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of parents out there that just want to give everything, right? And there's also kids, right, that just want to give everything and just be here to work and learn new things, or just be better athletes, or have better mindsets about themselves, right? Not only their team, but there's a bunch of people out there. They just don't know where to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bench pressing is a little more difficult than just bringing a bar down, touching.
Yeah, like and that's a bench press. Who gives a fuck about bench press? But at the same time, it teaches you to like, I got to do this for this reason, and I'm using this muscle. So where does this, right? If I do this for a bench press, that's that for football, or that's blocking, or that's right. That's all motor patterns that you learn.
Just to bring me into my next question, how much emphasis do you specifically put on motor pattern development over coming in doing your Arnold splits, such as deadlifting at sub-maximal weights after max effort training? You're a big guy on that, whether it's deadlift or squat, compared to going from a deadlift right into like a single joint hamstring curl. What is
I could already answer this. It's super important. I remember one day we were supposed to do max effort squat, and my squat form just wasn't there that day. So we took a whole day of me just doing form work, repping, and just basically diagnosing what was wrong with me, and figuring it out, and hopefully fixing it for the future, which I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's super important. I mean, if your motor pattern isn't good, you're not going to be able to lift. You're not going to be able to do anything in life. You know? I mean, if you try to shove somebody and do all like that, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Nothing to it.
You got to make new motor pathways in your brain to remember that pattern.
Mind muscle connection.
There it is. Yeah.
Or what do people say? Muscle memory, which isn't a thing, but
No, but that's exactly correct. Deer's 100% right. Right. You have to train the movements that are gonna make you successful in your specific sport or multiple sports, right? But coming in here and having big muscles it's only cool a little bit, right? Like big muscles are really cool, but athletes don't need big muscles. Athletes need specific muscles. Yeah, athletes need specific muscles, not big muscles.
So you say it's a substantial part of your training.
All of it.
What do you think was the hardest part of starting powerlifting or strength sports, strongman, whatever you want to call weightlifting? What is the hardest part of starting that as a sport?
I think when you're young, you don't understand. My son has just learned this, and you were witness to it, that you need to work hard not only during matches or games. You need to work hard before that, right? You need to put yourself in those uncomfortable positions while you're training and you're safe and you're not competing to know what they feel like in game time situation. Right?
Yeah.
Just like practice how you play.
Yeah.
Right? It's exactly like that. You need to find out what your limit is, try and push past that as much as you possibly can or get as close as you possibly can. And then and then push where it's safe. But then when you're in the game, it's just like every day else. Or it's just like everything else, right? It's just another day of training.
Yeah.
That's why training in here, you catch some of the big brutes that are walking around here and they train hard when they're just training, right? I'm not training for anything. But who knows? One day I might need to do something or this or that or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Just you need to practice like you play, right? That's the number one quote I tell my son every day.
Yeah.
At wrestling. And Lexi too. Lexi's a little older. She understands that practice is everything.
You're also a big this is what I've noticed, preacher on act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
Like don't Dieter.
Take
your belt off, don't throw it, don't do those stupid lever belt flips like pulling 315 is cool. Act like you've done it before.
I think that that's something that makes you approachable to other people.
Yeah.
Right? The end game, I think, what is it? Is it elite saying? FTS.
Live, learn, pass on.
Yeah,
that's
like
elites.
Yeah. So that's perfect, right? If you're this big fucking douchebag, and don't get me wrong, when you're doing something that's super cool or lifting super heavy, you got to get in your own mind and you got to know what pumps you up and you got to know all that, right? But after that's done, that's it. Like there's no reason to walk around this gym. There's no reason to walk around this gym for 2 hours or an hour or however long you're working out and think you're some fucking tough daddy. There's always somebody that'll walk through that door that's bigger than you, right? There's always somebody working harder than you. There's always somebody working on the same shit as you that is already better than you and has less training.
Yeah.
It just happens, right? So if you are this big asshole all the time, no one's going to want to talk to you, right? No one's going to learn from you, and no one will teach you. Yeah. So you've just crossed off every avenue to be better.
Yeah.
So like, I get 100%, like I said, being in the zone and being what you have to be to do this certain thing. But after that, man, if you're throwing your shit around, and if you're fucking being an asshole to everyone, if you're not putting shit away, if you're just doing whatever, being a big douchebag, like you just egged off your entire future of whatever your goal is, right?
Absolutely.
So, and especially too, as a young kid, say a senior in high school, you're that asshole.
Your eyes are
sure,
on you.
yeah, you maybe there's already eyes on you if you're that good. Then you come in, and no matter how good you are, you're only not going to go as far as you should, right? Look at the pro NFL players that are douchebags. There's enough of them, right? And they just don't get the credit when they could just be an open-handed person and just say, "Hey, I'll help you," right?
I feel like attitude's a lot. Attitude's probably about 25% of the game. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you don't come off as teachable,
no one wants to teach you.
Right.
I don't have to put myself out to teach anyone.
That's how
right?
you.
Yeah. I don't.
As a teachable person, you know?
Yep. I don't have to put my hand out to help you at all.
Yeah.
You got to remember that I'm doing that for you.
Yeah.
So if you're, that's why I don't know everything at all. I barely know anything, right? But like, you just keep reaching for people to help you, and you help them, and it just comes full circle, and then
Yeah.
you learn so much more from that. So that's another thing too. That's why this place is great, because it's a bunch of guys that know a little bit more than other people, but I've learned so much even from just kids coming in and
Yeah.
how they move and how they, and then thinking, oh, right, I didn't learn everything. I didn't learn something new, but now I have something that's here to show somebody else, right? Everybody has different weaknesses, but
Yeah.
like I said, everybody's weakness is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So you just figure out how to teach someone else.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's a good thing.
So on the final note, family's big for you.
Yep.
Like you spend knowing you over these years, you spend a lot of time not just with your wife and your kids, but with your brother, with your sister Lily, with your mom,
Lil.
and whatever. How do you manage training and a family lifestyle? Because we all know how much it takes to like eat, prep for meets, sleep, travel for meets.
Yeah.
Talk about that. How do you find the balance? Because what are you, 10, 11 years married?
Oh
10?
shit. Oh, 10 now. Yeah, 11 soon.
Put them on the spot there.
Yeah. No, it's 10. But I think, man, you're never gonna be right on, ever. I think there's, like I said before about the training and the sleep and everything, like, you are never gonna be right on with everything, right?
Yeah.
You're never gonna be perfect. Uh, you're never gonna be perfect to your wife. You're never gonna be perfect all the time to your kids. You're never gonna be perfect to yourself. You're never gonna be perfect to your diet. You're never gonna be perfect. You might have to skip a day because of something, right? But there's always what's important to you, right? And people who care about you will help you, will support you in any way possible, right?
Mhm.
You just have to find the right times to get things done. I know that sounds like really blah, but like that's all it is, right? If I got to get my kids to school and I also got to train. So for example, like my kids go to school at 7:30, and when I work nights, right, I'd get up, or I'd come home from work at 6:30. I would get them ready. I'd help my wife as much as possible, right? She knows I'm tired, but I'm trying to help, right? I may be a big puddle of mud because I'm tired or whatever, but like you got to help somewhere there, right? So then you're just, I don't like to use that, but gaining points with your wife because you're helping and you're spending time with your kids, right? At that time too, don't be barking at your kids when they're getting. I had a really hard time with that. Like I just hold my kids up to a high standard. I hold everybody up to a high standard. So I expect them to do this. But like you learn at the end of the day that you can only do so much, and they're just gonna take their own avenues, right?
Yep.
So just use that time, even if it is a small time, a half an hour, use that time per se for family to like, how was your day and how was this and how are you feeling? Is there anything you gotta talk about? Are you hungry? Are you crabby? Are you right? Like that, those little things mean everything, right? So then that's covering the family basis. And then I know like I would either train right away and get it over with, and then I'd only sleep 4 hours, and then I'd have to get up to get the kids, or then you know what I mean. So like, it's just you have to just keep pushing forward. Don't
give effort. I mean, just give effort everywhere.
Don't just quit, right?
Yeah.
Don't just quit because that never works. Like just my paramedic instructor, when I was going through paramedic or EMT to paramedic, and I was still working at the plant, and I still had all this other stuff going on, and I didn't know if I was going to go through medic right away. And he had a good one. He just said, buy the concert tickets, right? When you buy a concert ticket, you don't know what's going to be going on, right? You don't, anything. You plan for something, you have no idea what's going to happen. You could have a loved one die. You could have a car accident. You could have something else come up where all of a sudden you can't go, or just go push through it, right? Just don't be a dick. Right? Don't be an asshole, and just push through it. That's the best thing I can do. Everything is hard in life, no matter what you do, but if you just keep pushing through, the people who care about you will be around at the end of the day, and as long as you give an effort, everything will be okay.
Oh, that was deep.
The wise words of
That was good. That's a good way to end it off. So you got some big coaching events coming up. You got what, November 2nd?
Yep.
You got two signed up for sure,
and then maybe 3,
possibly 3 down at Limitless Gym. Lifting starts at 8 for everyone.
Yep.
You also got your youth class. There's 6 spots left for that.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get some more. If anybody's listening, I don't know, I'm trying to just plug this, but if they want to help, they can definitely help. You just got to get in contact with Brian and I, just so we can kind of check you out and make sure you're going to be okay. Just help out. I don't need anybody to like coach anything. I just need them to
Watch.
wrangle a bunch of kids together, right? So I'm excited for it. It should be cool. I hope this takes off really good, and then I would love to run one of these every. I don't know. I mean, if plan goes accordingly, we could have a bunch in the winter as well. But
Barry.
no, if we can get can I say it out loud? Can
Yeah.
I say it? Okay. Yeah, if we do get a bigger building and we get more room, I would love to run classes in winter. I'd love to run, basically run this for a month or whatever, and then or 2 months, and then take a month off and run it and keep running it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it only helps everyone else. So why not? I'll fit it into the schedule.
Absolutely. We got some new t-shirts in. Should be here on Tuesday.
Hats?
And new hat orders coming in. So stop down to the gym if you're interested in training, talking to Louie, or seeing one of Dieter's hats. He has 2 of them.
Yeah, you got one yourself.
Always, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
November 2nd. If anyone wants to go to that, message me. I'll get you tickets. We can go down to Appleton all together. Make a giant crew. Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate it.
See ya. Thank you very much.